This is Mental Forge, where weakness burns and warriors are built. Have you ever wondered what life would feel like if your mind were completely calm, no longer tormented by the endless chatter of anxiety? Imagine waking up in the morning and feeling a deep sense of clarity and peace, knowing that whatever challenges the day may bring, you are equipped to face them. No panic, no fear, just quiet confidence. This isn't some far-off fantasy reserved only for the lucky few. It's available to you, right now, if you're willing to understand a simple yet profound truth that I'm going to share with you today. You see, anxiety is not your enemy. That might sound strange, even counterintuitive, but anxiety is simply a signal. It's your mind's way of trying to protect you from perceived danger. And what's truly incredible is that you have the power to reprogram this response. In this video, I'm going to show you how to silence anxiety forever. Not by suppressing it, not by running from it, but by transforming it into a source of power and clarity. By the end of this conversation, you'll have the tools to build unshakable belief, kill fear through repetition and vision, and live from faith instead of fear. Let's start with a story. In the late 1800s, a young man named Henry Ford had a vision. He wanted to create a horseless carriage, a machine that would change the way people lived and worked. But here's the thing. Ford wasn't born into wealth or privilege. He didn't have a roadmap handed to him. In fact, most people around him laughed at his idea. They called it impossible, ridiculous even. But Ford had something they didn't. He had belief. He had the courage to decide that his vision was worth pursuing, no matter the odds. Ford's journey wasn't easy. He failed repeatedly. His first car designs were clunky, unreliable, and expensive. Investors pulled out. Friends doubted him. But Ford understood something profound. Failure is not the opposite of success. It's a necessary step on the path to success. Each failure brought him closer to the answer. And because he refused to let fear or anxiety take control, he eventually created the Model T, the car that revolutionized transportation and made him a household name. Ford's story teaches us a vital lesson. Anxiety often stems from the fear of failure, from imagining worst-case scenarios that may never happen. But when you shift your focus from fear to faith in your vision, faith in your ability to adapt and grow, you take back control. You see, anxiety thrives in the absence of decision. When you hesitate, when you dwell on what-ifs, you give anxiety room to grow. But when you make a firm decision and commit to a course of action, you silence the noise. Now, you might be thinking, that's all well and good for someone like Henry Ford, but how does this apply to me? The truth is, the principles that guided Ford are universal. They apply to anyone willing to embrace them. Let me ask you something. What's the vision you've been holding back on because of fear or doubt? What's the dream that keeps you awake at night, the one you can't stop thinking about? Whatever it is, I want you to write it down. Yes, right now. Grab a piece of paper or open a note on your phone and write it down. Because clarity is the first step to transformation. Anxiety feeds on vagueness. When your mind is cluttered with half-formed thoughts and unspoken fears, anxiety thrives. But when you get clear on what you want and why you want it, you take the first step in silencing that inner chaos. And here's a little secret. Your subconscious mind is constantly working to align your outer world with your inner beliefs. When you focus on your vision with clarity and conviction, you literally rewire your brain to seek solutions and opportunities that align with that vision. This isn't just motivational talk, it's neuroscience. Your brain has something called the reticular activating system, or RAS, which acts like a filter. When you program your RAS with clear goals and positive beliefs, it starts filtering out distractions and highlighting opportunities that align with your vision. Let's take a moment to pause here. If you're finding this helpful so far, make sure to hit that subscribe button. This channel is all about helping you unlock your potential and live a life of purpose and abundance. And by subscribing, you'll never miss the powerful insights and strategies we share here. Now, let's dive deeper. One of the most effective tools for silencing anxiety is a daily practice of visualization. Visualization isn't just imagining yourself succeeding. It's about feeling the emotions of that success in the present moment. When Thomas Edison was working on the light bulb, he didn't just tinker with wires and filaments. He visualized a world illuminated by electric light. He saw homes, streets, and cities transformed by his invention. That vision gave him the resilience to keep going, even after thousands of failed experiments. Yes, thousands. Edison famously said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." What would your life look like if you embraced that mindset? Imagine seeing every setback as a lesson, every obstacle as an opportunity to grow stronger. Here's an exercise for you. Each morning, before you start your day, take 5 minutes to visualize your ideal life. Close your eyes and picture it in vivid detail. See yourself achieving your goals, living with purpose, and feeling a deep sense of peace and fulfillment. But don't stop there. Feel it. Feel the joy, the gratitude, the excitement of living your dream. When you do this consistently, you're not just daydreaming. You're rewiring your brain to believe that this reality is possible. Another powerful tool is journaling. Writing down your thoughts and feelings is like having a conversation with your subconscious mind. It helps you gain clarity, process emotions, and identify patterns that may be holding you back. Here's a prompt to get you started. What is the one fear that has been controlling my decisions, and what action can I take today to face it head-on? Be honest with yourself. The act of writing it down is the first step in taking away its power. Let's talk about resilience. Anxiety often makes us feel like we're at the mercy of our circumstances, but the truth is, resilience is a skill you can develop. Winston Churchill, one of history's greatest leaders, faced unimaginable pressure during World War II. The fate of entire nations rested on his shoulders. Yet, he remained steadfast. Why? Because he understood the power of perspective. Churchill once said, "Success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts." Resilience begins with how you interpret events. Instead of seeing challenges as insurmountable problems, see them as opportunities to grow. Here's a simple mental exercise you can practice. Whenever you feel overwhelmed, ask yourself, what is this trying to teach me? Shifting your perspective in this way turns obstacles into stepping stones. If you're gaining value from this, take a moment to subscribe to the channel. We're building a community of like-minded individuals who are committed to growth and transformation, and we'd love for you to be a part of it. Now, let's talk about building a lifelong growth framework, one that will not only silence anxiety, but also help you achieve mental discipline and self-mastery. This framework is built on 4 pillars: discipline, clarity, values, and action. Discipline is the foundation. Without it, good intentions remain just that, intentions. Discipline means doing what needs to be done, even when you don't feel like it. It's the key to creating habits that support your growth. Clarity is the compass. It ensures you're moving in the right direction. Values are your anchor. They keep you grounded and aligned with your true self. And action is the engine. It's what turns dreams into reality. If you implement these principles, you'll not only silence anxiety but also cultivate a mindset of abundance and resilience. Remember, the journey to self-mastery is a marathon, not a sprint. Celebrate your progress, no matter how small. And if this message resonated with you, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with someone who might need it. Together, we can create a ripple effect of positive change. Finally, let me leave you with this. You are far more powerful than you realize. The potential to overcome anxiety, to achieve greatness, to live a life of purpose and abundance seats already within you. All you have to do is take the first step. Now, as we move forward, I want you to reflect on something. What would your life look like if you fully trusted yourself? If you could silence the voice of doubt in your head that whispers, "What if you fail?" Or, "What if you're not good enough?" That voice, let's call it, the voice of fear, has been with you for a long time, hasn't it? It's like an unwelcome guest that overstayed its welcome. But here's the truth. That voice only has power because you've given it your attention. The moment you choose to stop feeding it, it begins to lose its grip. Fear is like a shadow. It seems enormous when you run from it, but when you turn around and face it, you realize it's nothing but an illusion. And here's the secret. Courage isn't the absence of fear. It's moving forward despite it. Think of Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher who faced unimaginable challenges during his reign. Plagues, wars, betrayal. His life was a constant storm. Yet, Marcus found peace by mastering his mind. He wrote, You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. This is where mental discipline comes into play. Anxiety often feels overwhelming because we allow our minds to run on autopilot, reacting to every thought and external event. But you are not your thoughts. Let me say that again. You are not your thoughts. You are the observer of your thoughts, and you have the power to choose which ones to believe and act on. Here's a practical exercise to help you master this. It's called thought auditing. At the end of each day, take 5 minutes to write down the thoughts that dominated your mind throughout the day. Were they empowering or disempowering? Were they rooted in faith or fear? Once you've identified them, challenge the disempowering ones. Ask yourself, is this thought objectively true, or is it just a story I'm telling myself? Over time, this simple practice will help you build awareness and control over your mental landscape. Let's take a moment to talk about faith, not in a religious sense, but faith in your own ability to create the life you want. Andrew Carnegie, one of the wealthiest men in history and a pioneer of the steel industry, attributed his success to an unshakable belief in himself and his vision. Carnegie once said, "You are what you think. So just think big, believe big, act big, work big, and give big." He understood that faith is a muscle. The more you exercise it, the stronger it becomes. But how do you build faith when doubt feels so loud? Start small. Set a goal that stretches you just a little outside your comfort zone, and commit to achieving it. When you succeed, no matter how small the win, you'll start to build evidence that you are capable. And as your faith grows, so will your willingness to take bigger and bolder steps. I want you to try something right now. Close your eyes and take a deep breath. Think of a time in your life when you accomplished something you once thought was impossible. Maybe it was graduating from school, landing a job, overcoming a personal challenge, or even just finding the strength to keep going when things were tough. Hold that memory in your mind. Feel the pride, the strength, the resilience that got you through. That version of you still exists. They're still within you, waiting to rise again. Let me share another story, this one about Thomas Edison. We all know Edison as the inventor of the light bulb, but what many don't know is that he was also one of the most resilient minds in history. When asked how he felt about failing thousands of times before creating a working light bulb, Edison replied, "I didn't fail. I just found 10,000 ways that won't work." That's the mindset of someone who refuses to let fear or anxiety dictate their actions. He didn't see failure as the end. He saw it as feedback. What would happen if you adopted that mindset? If every setback became a lesson, every challenge an opportunity to grow? Here's a journaling prompt to help you start. What is one failure or challenge in my life that I can reframe as a lesson? What did it teach me, and how can I use that lesson moving forward? Now, let's talk about the importance of identity. Anxiety often takes root when we're uncertain about who we are or what we stand for. But when you have a strong sense of identity, you become unshakable. Take Mahatma Gandhi, for example. Gandhi faced overwhelming opposition in his fight for India's independence. He was ridiculed, beaten, and imprisoned. Yet, he never wavered. Why? Because he knew who he was and what he stood for. His sense of purpose was so strong that no external force could shake him. Ask yourself, who am I at my core? What do I stand for? What values guide my life? These are not questions to answer lightly. Take the time to reflect deeply, because the answers will serve as your anchor in any storm. If this message is resonating with you, take a moment to subscribe to the channel. By doing so, you're not just supporting this community, you're making a commitment to yourself, to your growth, and to your future. And I promise, the best is yet to come. Now, let's shift gears and talk about the role of habits in silencing anxiety. Habits are the building blocks of your life. They shape your identity, your mindset, and your results. As James Clear, the author of Atomic Habits, says, "You do not rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems." If you want to silence anxiety and build unshakable confidence, you need habits that support your mental, emotional, and physical well-being. Start small. Begin with a morning routine that sets the tone for your day. Here's a simple one to try. Gratitude. Spend 2 minutes writing down 3 things you're grateful for. Gratitude shifts your focus from scarcity to abundance. Affirmations. Repeat 3 empowering statements about yourself. For example, I am capable of overcoming any challenge. Or, I am calm, focused, and in control. Visualization. Spend 5 minutes visualizing your ideal day, focusing on how you want to feel and what you want to accomplish. These small practices compound over time, creating a ripple effect in every area of your life. Let me end this section with a story about Theodore Roosevelt. Roosevelt was a man of immense vitality and willpower. As a child, he was frail and asthmatic, but he refused to let his circumstances define him. He embraced what he called the strenuous life, pushing himself to grow stronger physically, mentally, and emotionally. His philosophy was simple: do what you can, with what you have, where you are. Roosevelt reminds us that you don't need to have everything figured out to start. You just need to take the next step. So, what's your next step? What action can you take today, right now, to move closer to the life you want? If you're still here, I know you're serious about transformation. And I want to thank you for investing this time in yourself. This isn't just another video. This is the beginning of a journey to silence anxiety, build unshakable belief, and live a life of purpose and abundance. Let's take a moment to reflect on the importance of action. Anxiety often thrives in the space between intention and action. When you hesitate, when you dwell on the what-ifs, you create fertile ground for fear to grow. But the moment you take action, even the smallest step, you disrupt that cycle. Action is the antidote to fear. It's not about being perfect. It's about being consistent. Think of Alexander the Great, one of history's most fearless leaders. By the time he was 30, he had conquered much of the known world. But Alexander's success wasn't just about strategy or military strength, it was about decisive action. When faced with overwhelming odds, he didn't hesitate. He trusted his vision, his preparation, and his instincts, and he moved forward boldly. One of his most famous quotes is, "There is nothing impossible to him who will try." Now, imagine adopting that mindset. Instead of overthinking, you commit to trying. You embrace the idea that progress, no matter how small, is better than perfection. Here's a challenge for you. Think of one area in your life where anxiety has been holding you back. Maybe it's a conversation you've been avoiding, a project you've been procrastinating on, or a dream you've been too afraid to pursue. Commit to taking one small, specific action today. Write the email, make the call, take the first step. And here's the beauty of it. When you take action, you prove to yourself that you're capable. That proof becomes the foundation for greater confidence, and greater confidence leads to even more action. It's a positive feedback loop that can completely transform your life. Let's shift our focus to the power of the subconscious mind. Your subconscious mind is like the soil of a garden. Whatever seeds you plant, whether they're seeds of faith, fear, doubt, or abundance, will grow. Napoleon Hill, in his timeless book, Think and Grow Rich, emphasized the importance of autosuggestion, the practice of feeding your subconscious mind with positive, empowering thoughts. Hill wrote, "Whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve." So how do you plant the right seeds? Through repetition and emotion. When you repeat affirmations or visualize your goals with genuine emotion, you imprint those ideas onto your subconscious mind. Over time, these ideas become beliefs, and those beliefs shape your reality. Here's a simple exercise to try. Before you go to bed tonight, repeat this affirmation to yourself: I am calm, capable, and in control. I trust myself to handle whatever comes my way. Say it with conviction. Feel the truth of those words. Let me share another story to illustrate this. John D. Rockefeller, one of the richest men in history, faced incredible challenges during his career. At one point, during the financial panic of 1873, his entire business empire was at risk of collapsing. But Rockefeller had trained his mind to remain calm and focused, even in the face of chaos. He once said, "I always tried to turn every disaster into an opportunity." That mindset not only saved his business, but also allowed him to thrive when others were paralyzed by fear. What's the lesson here? Your ability to remain calm and focused under pressure is one of the greatest gifts you can give yourself. It's not about ignoring problems. It's about approaching them with a clear mind and a steady hand. One way to cultivate this skill is through mindfulness meditation. Take just 5 minutes each day to sit quietly, focus on your breath, and observe your thoughts without judgment. This simple practice trains your mind to stay present, even in stressful situations. If this message is resonating with you, take a moment to subscribe to the channel. By doing so, you're not just supporting this community. You're making a commitment to your own growth. And remember, every time you show up for yourself, you're taking one step closer to the life you deserve. Now, let's talk about the importance of having a clear vision. Anxiety often arises when we feel lost or uncertain about our direction in life. But when you have a clear vision, it acts like a compass, guiding you through even the stormiest seas. Leonardo da Vinci, one of the greatest minds in history, was a master of vision. He didn't just see the world as it was, he saw it as it could be. His sketches of flying machines, for example, were centuries ahead of his time. Leonardo once said, "The noblest pleasure is the joy of understanding." What's your vision? What's the future you want to create for yourself? Take some time to write it down in vivid detail. Don't just think about what you want to achieve, think about how you want to feel, who you want to become, and the impact you want to have on the world. This isn't just an exercise in wishful thinking. When you get clear on your vision, you engage your brain's reticular activating system, which starts filtering out distractions and highlighting opportunities that align with your goals. But vision alone isn't enough. You need action. You need discipline. Theodore Roosevelt said it best. In any moment of decision, the best thing you can do is the right thing. The next best thing is the wrong thing. The worst thing you can do is nothing. So don't wait for the perfect moment, because it doesn't exist. Start where you are, use what you have, and do what you can. Here's a practical tip to help you stay accountable. Create a weekly reflection ritual. At the end of each week, take 15 minutes to review your progress. What did you accomplish? What challenges did you face? What lessons did you learn? This simple habit not only keeps you on track but also helps you celebrate your wins, no matter how small. Let's return to the idea of building a lifelong growth framework. Remember the 4 pillars: discipline, clarity, values, and action. These pillars are not just concepts, they're practices. Discipline means showing up for yourself every day, even when you don't feel like it. Clarity means knowing what you want and why you want it. Values means staying true to what matters most, even when it's difficult. And action means taking consistent steps toward your goals, no matter how small. I want to leave you with one final story. Abraham Lincoln, one of the greatest leaders in history, faced more failures and hardships than most of us can imagine. He lost multiple elections, endured personal tragedies, and led a nation through its darkest hour. Yet, through it all, Lincoln remained steadfast. He once said, "The best way to predict your future is to create it." You have that same power within you. The power to create your future. The power to silence anxiety, build unshakable confidence, and live a life of purpose and abundance. It starts with a decision to take control of your mind, your actions, and your destiny. If you've made it this far, I want to thank you. Thank you for investing this time in yourself. Thank you for being part of this community. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and join us on this journey of growth and transformation. And remember, you are stronger than you think, braver than you feel, and more capable than you realize. The journey won't always be easy, but it will be worth it. Take the first step and keep moving forward. Your best life is waiting for you. Now, as we dive even deeper into this journey, let me remind you of a truth that too many people forget. Your mind is your most powerful tool. It's the lens through which you experience the world, and it has the power to shape your reality. But here's the catch. Your mind can either be your greatest ally or your greatest enemy. If you let it run wild, consumed by fear, doubt, and negativity, it will work against you. But if you train it, discipline it, and fill it with empowering thoughts, it will become your most loyal servant. Think about this. Every invention, every breakthrough, every act of greatness in human history began as a thought. The light bulb, the airplane, the internet, all of it started with someone daring to believe that what they imagined could become real. And this is where anxiety tries to rob you. It tells you your ideas aren't good enough. that you're not good enough. But that voice is not the truth. It's just noise, and you have the power to turn it off. Let me share a story about someone who mastered this power. Nikola Tesla. Tesla, the genius inventor whose work laid the foundation for modern electricity, was a man of extraordinary vision. He once said, "If you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration." Tesla's ability to visualize his inventions with such clarity was legendary. He didn't just sketch his ideas, he constructed them in his mind, testing them, refining them, and perfecting them before ever building a physical prototype. Now, let me ask you this. How clear is the picture you have of your own future? Can you see it in your mind's eye? Or is it blurry, clouded by fear and uncertainty? If it's the latter, that's okay. Most people have never been taught how to create a clear vision for their life. But here's the good news. You can start right now. Visualization is a skill, and like any skill, it gets stronger with practice. Here's a simple exercise to help you get started. Find a quiet place where you won't be interrupted. Close your eyes and take a deep breath. Now, imagine yourself a year from now, living your ideal life. What does it look like? Where are you? Who are you with? What are you doing? Most importantly, how do you feel? Don't just see the vision, feel it. Feel the joy, the confidence, the peace of mind that comes with living the life you desire. Do this every day for just 5 minutes. And over time, your subconscious mind will begin to align your actions with your vision. Now, let's talk about how to handle setbacks, because no journey is without them. One of the biggest mistakes people make is letting a single failure define them. But failure is not the opposite of success, it's part of the process. Thomas Edison didn't succeed on his first try. Neither did Abraham Lincoln, who lost multiple elections before becoming president. And let's not forget Winston Churchill, who faced countless defeats before leading Britain to victory in World War II. These individuals understood a crucial principle. Failure is feedback. It's information. It's life's way of showing you what doesn't work so you can find what does. Here's a challenge for you. The next time you experience a setback, instead of asking, "Why me?" ask, "What can I learn from this?" This simple shift in perspective can turn any failure into an opportunity for growth. And don't just think about it, write it down. Journaling is one of the most powerful tools for self-reflection and growth. When you put your thoughts on paper, you gain clarity, and clarity is the first step to transformation. Speaking of transformation, let's take a moment to talk about identity. One of the reasons anxiety feels so overwhelming is that we often let it define us. We say things like, "I'm an anxious person," as if it's a permanent part of who we are. But anxiety is not your identity. It's a state of mind, and like any state, it can be changed. The key is to shift your focus from what you fear to who you want to become. Take a moment right now to think about the kind of person you aspire to be. Maybe you want to be someone who is calm under pressure, someone who radiates confidence and positivity, someone who inspires others by the way they live. Whatever it is, write it down. Then, ask yourself, what actions would this version of me take? How would they think? How would they respond to challenges? The more you align your actions with this vision of your ideal self, the more you'll begin to embody that identity. Let me share another story to illustrate this point. Benjamin Franklin, one of America's founding fathers, was not born a genius. In fact, by his own admission, he was deeply flawed in his youth. But Franklin was committed to self-improvement. He famously created a list of 13 virtues he wanted to develop, ranging from temperance to humility. Each week, he focused on one virtue, tracking his progress and reflecting on his behavior. Over time, this practice transformed him into one of the most respected and accomplished individuals of his era. What's the lesson here? Growth is not about being perfect, it's about being intentional. It's about identifying the areas where you want to improve and taking consistent, deliberate action to get better. So here's another challenge for you. Create your own list of virtues or values that are important to you. Maybe it's discipline, kindness, courage, or gratitude. Choose one to focus on each week, and at the end of each day, reflect on how well you lived in alignment with that value. This simple practice can have a profound impact on your life. Now, let's revisit the idea of mental discipline, because it's one of the most powerful tools you have for silencing anxiety. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic philosopher and Roman emperor, wrote extensively about the importance of mastering one's mind. He believed that while we can't control external events, we can always control how we respond to them. One of his most famous quotes is, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Meditation is one of the best ways to cultivate this kind of mental discipline. If you're new to meditation, don't worry, it's simpler than you think. Start with just 2 minutes a day. Sit in a comfortable position, close your eyes, and focus on your breath. When your mind starts to wander, gently bring your attention back to your breath. That's it. Over time, this practice will help you develop greater focus, calm, and resilience. If you've made it this far, I want to take a moment to thank you. The fact that you're still here tells me you're serious about your growth, and that's something to be proud of. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on future videos that can help you unlock your potential and live your best life. Now, as we near the conclusion of this discussion, I want to leave you with a few final thoughts. Anxiety may feel like a permanent part of your life right now, but it's not. It's a visitor, and like any visitor, it doesn't have to stay. You have the power to show it the door. You have the power to take control of your thoughts, your actions, and your destiny. Remember this. Life will always have its challenges, but you are stronger than any challenge you face. You are capable of more than you realize. And the fact that you're here, seeking knowledge and tools to improve your life, proves that you're on the right path. Every great journey begins with a single step, and you've already taken that step by showing up today. Keep moving forward, one step at a time. Trust yourself, believe in your vision, and never stop growing. Let's take a moment to revisit something fundamental, the relationship between your thoughts and your reality. Earl Nightingale, one of the greatest personal development teachers of the 20th century, once said, "We become what we think about." It's such a simple statement, but its implications are profound. If your mind is constantly consumed by thoughts of fear, doubt, and anxiety, then your life will reflect those emotions. But if you can consciously direct your thoughts toward faith, purpose, and abundance, your life will begin to transform. Now, before you dismiss this as just another motivational cliché, let's break it down. Your thoughts influence your emotions influence your actions, and your actions shape your life. This is why it's so important to take control of your mental environment. Think of your mind as a garden. If you neglect it, weeds will grow. But if you cultivate it, planting seeds of positivity and nurturing them with care, it will flourish. Here's a practical exercise to help you take control of your mental environment. Start each day with a mental diet. For the first 15 minutes after you wake up, feed your mind with something positive. This could be an inspiring book, a motivational video, or even a few affirmations. Why is this important? Because the first few minutes of your day set the tone for everything that follows. By starting your day with positive input, you prime your mind for success. Let me share a story about someone who mastered this principle, Andrew Carnegie. Carnegie, who built one of the largest steel empires in history, was a man who understood the power of focused thought. He didn't let his mind dwell on problems or fears. Instead, he focused on solutions and opportunities. Carnegie's unwavering belief in his vision was so strong that it inspired others to believe in it too. He once said, "If you want to be happy, set a goal that commands your thoughts, liberates your energy, and inspires your hopes." Carnegie's story is a powerful reminder that clarity of purpose can silence even the loudest doubts. When you're clear on what you want and why you want it, the noise of anxiety fades into the background. So, let me ask you, what's one goal that excites you, that inspires you, that scares you just enough to remind you it's worth pursuing? Write it down. Don't overthink it. Just write the first thing that comes to mind. That's your starting point. Now, let's talk about the power of repetition. One of the reasons anxiety feels so persistent is because it's often rooted in deeply ingrained thought patterns. These patterns didn't develop overnight, and they won't disappear overnight either. But with consistent effort, you can replace them with new, empowering patterns. This is where affirmations come in. Affirmations are not just words, they're tools for reprogramming your subconscious mind. When repeated consistently and with emotion, they can help you rewrite the story you tell yourself. Here's an affirmation to try. I am calm, confident, and in control. I trust myself to handle any challenge that comes my way. Say it out loud every morning and every night for the next 30 days. But don't just say it, feel it. Imagine what it would feel like to truly embody those words. The more you practice this, the more your subconscious mind will begin to accept it as truth. And while we're on the topic of repetition, let's talk about the power of habits. Your habits are the foundation of your life. They determine your health, your relationships, your success, and yes, even your mental state. If you want to silence anxiety, you need habits that support your growth and well-being. Start with small, manageable changes. For example, make it a habit to move your body every day, even if it's just a 10-minute walk. Exercise isn't just good for your physical health, it's one of the most effective ways to reduce anxiety and boost your mood. Another powerful habit is gratitude. Anxiety often stems from a focus on what's missing or what could go wrong. Gratitude shifts your focus to what's already good in your life. Here's a simple exercise. Every night before you go to bed, write down 3 things you're grateful for. They don't have to be big. Something as simple as a kind word from a friend or a moment of peace in your day is enough. Over time, this practice will rewire your brain to focus on the positive, making it harder for anxiety to take hold. Now, I want to share a story about someone who embodied these principles. Theodore Roosevelt. Roosevelt, as you may know, was a man of extraordinary energy and determination. But what many people don't know is that he struggled with severe asthma as a child. His health was so poor that doctors didn't believe he would live to adulthood, but Roosevelt refused to let his circumstances define him. He embraced what he called the strenuous life, pushing himself to overcome his physical limitations through sheer willpower and discipline. Roosevelt's story is a testament to the power of resilience. He didn't wait for his circumstances to change, he changed himself. And you can do the same. No matter what challenges you're facing right now, you have the power to rise above them. It won't always be easy, but it will be worth it. Let's talk about resilience for a moment, because it's one of the most important skills you can develop. Resilience isn't about avoiding challenges. It's about facing them with courage and determination. It's about bouncing back when life knocks you down. One of the best ways to build resilience is to reframe how you view adversity. Instead of seeing it as a problem, see it as an opportunity to grow stronger. Here's a mental exercise to help you build resilience. The next time you face a challenge, ask yourself, how is this situation helping me grow? What skills, strengths, or insights am I gaining from this experience? This simple shift in perspective can transform even the most difficult situations into opportunities for growth. If you're still with me, I want to take a moment to acknowledge you. The fact that you're here, listening, learning, and committing to your growth says so much about who you are. You're not someone who settles for mediocrity. You're someone who is willing to do the work, to face your fears, and to create the life you deserve. And that's something to be incredibly proud of. If you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to the channel. By doing so, you're not just joining a community, you're making a declaration. A declaration that you're ready to step into your power, silence your doubts, and live a life of purpose and abundance. As we near the conclusion of this journey, let me leave you with one final thought. Anxiety is not a life sentence. It's a challenge, yes, but it's also an opportunity. An opportunity to grow, to learn, and to transform. Every time you choose faith over fear, action over hesitation, and growth over comfort, you're taking a step closer to the life you were meant to live. You are stronger than you think, braver than you feel, and more capable than you realize. The journey ahead won't always be easy, but it will be worth it. So take the first step. Decide who you want to be. Commit to the habits that will get you there, and never stop moving forward. Your best life is waiting for you, and you have everything you need to claim it. Let's continue by addressing something many people struggle with. The idea that anxiety is an unchangeable part of who they are. Maybe you've told yourself, this is just how I'm wired, or I'll always be an anxious person. But let me tell you something. That belief is a lie. It's not the truth of who you are. Anxiety is not your identity, it's a habit. And like any habit, it can be broken. This might be the most important thing you hear today. You are not a prisoner of your past. Your brain is not fixed. Thanks to something called neuroplasticity, you have the ability to rewire your mind. Neuroplasticity is the brain's incredible ability to reorganize itself by forming new neural connections. What does this mean for you? It means that the thoughts you think, the habits you practice, and the actions you take are literally reshaping your brain every single day. Think about that for a moment. Every time you make the choice to replace a fearful thought with a hopeful one, every time you choose gratitude over worry, every time you take action in the face of fear, you're rewiring your brain for resilience, confidence, and peace. The process may not happen overnight, but with consistency, the changes will come. Remember the story of Thomas Edison, the man who failed thousands of times before inventing the light bulb? Edison once said, "Our greatest weakness lies in giving up. The most certain way to succeed is always to try just one more time." That one more time mindset is what separates those who succeed from those who settle. It's a willingness to keep going, to keep trying, even when the evidence of success isn't immediately visible. And here's the thing about anxiety. It thrives on avoidance. The more you avoid the things that trigger your fear, the stronger that fear becomes. But the moment you face it, when you take even the smallest action in the direction of your fear, you begin to take back your power. This is called exposure, and it's one of the most effective ways to overcome anxiety. Here's a practical exercise to help you with this. Make a list of the things you've been avoiding because of fear. Start small. Maybe it's having a difficult conversation, trying something new, or stepping outside your comfort zone in some way. Next, choose one item from the list and take one small step toward it. If it's a conversation you've been avoiding, send a text or write down what you want to say. If it's trying something new, take the first step to research or prepare. The key here is progress, not perfection. Now, let's talk about the role of fear in decision-making. Anxiety often manifests as indecision. Have you ever felt paralyzed by the fear of making the wrong choice? That fear stems from a belief that your decisions must be perfect. But here's the truth. There's no such thing as a perfect decision. Every choice comes with risks and uncertainties. But every choice also comes with opportunities. John D. Rockefeller, one of the most successful businessmen in history, understood this. Rockefeller faced countless decisions that could have made or broken his career. His approach was simple. Gather as much information as possible, make the best decision he could with that information, and then commit fully. He didn't waste time second-guessing himself. He trusted his ability to adapt and learn from whatever outcome arose. What can you take from this? Trust yourself. Trust that even if a decision doesn't lead to the outcome you hoped for, you'll learn from it and grow stronger. The worst decision you can make is no decision at all, because indecision keeps you stuck. Here's an affirmation to help you build this trust. I trust myself to make choices that align with my highest good. I am capable of learning, growing, and adapting. Repeat this to yourself whenever you feel overwhelmed by a decision. Let's pivot now to the concept of faith. Not necessarily religious faith, though, that can be powerful, but faith in your ability to create the life you want. Faith is the antidote to fear. It's the belief that, no matter what challenges arise, you have the strength, the resourcefulness, and the resilience to overcome them. Faith doesn't mean you'll never feel afraid. It means you'll act in spite of that fear. Consider the story of Mahatma Gandhi. Gandhi faced incredible opposition in his fight for India's independence. He was imprisoned, ridiculed, and threatened, yet he never wavered. Why? Because his faith in his mission was stronger than his fear of failure. Gandhi once said, "You may never know what results come of your actions, but if you do nothing, there will be no result." This principle applies to your life, too. The results you want, the peace, the success, the fulfillment, can only come from action. Faith gives you the courage to take that action, even when the path ahead isn't completely clear. Let me ask you, where in your life do you need to act from faith instead of fear? Maybe it's pursuing a goal that feels out of reach. Maybe it's letting go of something that no longer serves you. Whatever it is, write it down. Commit to taking one small step in that direction today. If this message is resonating with you, take a moment to subscribe to the channel. This isn't just about videos, it's about building a community of people who are committed to growth, to courage, and to living their best lives. By subscribing, you're joining a movement, and we're so glad to have you here. Now, let's address one of the most common causes of anxiety: uncertainty. As humans, we crave certainty. We want to know that everything will work out, that we'll be safe, that our efforts will be rewarded. But the truth is, life doesn't come with guarantees. And that's okay. Because while you can't control everything that happens to you, you can control how you respond. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic philosopher, knew this well. He wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This is the essence of Stoicism, focusing on what you can control and letting go of what you can't. Here's a practical exercise to help you apply this principle. The next time you feel overwhelmed by uncertainty, make a list of 2 things: what you can control and what you can't. Then, commit to focusing only on what's within your control. This simple practice can help you shift your energy away from worry and toward action. Let me leave you with one final story. It's about Julius Caesar. When Caesar led his army across the Rubicon River in 49 BC, he knew there was no turning back. He was committing to a course of action that would change the course of history. Caesar's boldness wasn't reckless, it was rooted in a deep belief in his vision and his ability to achieve it. His famous words, "The die is cast," remind us that sometimes we have to take bold action and trust ourselves to handle whatever comes next. You have that same power within you, the power to decide, to act, and to create, the power to silence the voice of anxiety and replace it with a voice of courage and conviction. So, as we wrap up, let me challenge you to take one bold step today. It doesn't have to be big, just bold. Maybe it's speaking up for yourself. Maybe it's starting something you've been putting off. Whatever it is, do it with the knowledge that you are stronger than your fears and more capable than you realize. Thank you for being here, for choosing growth, and for committing to yourself. Remember, this is just the beginning. Your best life is waiting for you, and I can't wait to see what you create. As you step forward on this journey, there's one last truth I want to impress upon you, an idea so simple yet so powerful that it can reshape your entire relationship with anxiety. You are not alone. One of the most isolating aspects of anxiety is the illusion that it's unique to you, that no one else could possibly understand the weight you carry or the battles you fight in your mind. But the reality is, countless people, some of the most successful and admired figures in history, have faced the very same struggles. Think of Winston Churchill, for example. Known for his unmatched resilience and leadership during one of the darkest periods in human history, Churchill referred to his bouts of depression and anxiety as his black dog. Yet, despite these struggles, he rose to become one of the most influential leaders the world has ever seen. Churchill didn't let his anxiety define him. Instead, he learned to live with it, to channel his struggles into strength. And that's what I want you to take away from this. Anxiety doesn't have to be your master. It can be your teacher. It can push you to grow, to learn, to dig deeper into your own strength and resilience. You don't need to eliminate it completely to live a fulfilling life. The goal isn't perfection, it's progress. Let me ask you, what if you stopped seeing anxiety as an enemy and started seeing it as a signal that something in your life needs your attention? Maybe it's a habit you need to change, a boundary you need to set, or a dream you need to pursue. Instead of running from it, what would happen if you leaned in and asked, "What is this trying to teach me?" Here's a journaling prompt for you. The next time you feel anxious, take a moment to sit down and write, "What is my anxiety telling me? What do I need to address, change, or let go of?" You might be surprised by the insights you uncover. Now, let's talk about accountability. Because growth doesn't happen in isolation. It happens in connection with mentors, with friends, with like-minded communities that support and inspire you. If you're watching this, I want you to know that you're already part of a community. By being here, by engaging with this content, you're surrounding yourself with people who share your commitment to growth and self-mastery. And if you haven't subscribed yet, let me encourage you to do that now. Subscribing isn't just about staying up to date with new videos, it's about making a commitment to your growth, to your transformation, and to becoming the best version of yourself. We're here to support you every step of the way, and we'd love for you to join us on this journey. Now, Let's revisit the idea of building a lifelong growth framework, a system that keeps you grounded, focused, and continually evolving. One of the most important aspects of this framework is clarity. Without clarity, it's easy to drift, to let the noise of life pull you in 100 different directions. But when you're clear on your values, your goals, and your purpose, that clarity acts like a compass, guiding you through even the stormiest seas. Take Benjamin Franklin, for example. Franklin was a man of extraordinary clarity and discipline. He famously created a system for self-improvement that included tracking his progress on 13 virtues, such as temperance, humility, and industry. Every night, he would reflect on his day, noting where he succeeded and where he fell short. This practice of self-reflection allowed him to stay aligned with his values and continually improve. You can create your own version of this practice. At the end of each day, take 5 minutes to reflect and ask yourself 3 questions. What did I do well today? Where did I fall short? What can I do differently tomorrow? This small but powerful habit can help you stay focused on what matters most and keep moving forward, even when the road gets tough. Another pillar of your growth framework is discipline. Discipline is what turns your intentions into actions, your goals into reality. It's what keeps you going when motivation fades. And here's the thing, discipline isn't about being perfect. It's about showing up, day after day, even when you don't feel like it. Think about Theodore Roosevelt again. He didn't let his childhood health challenges define him. Instead, he disciplined himself to live what he called the strenuous life, pushing himself to improve physically, mentally, and emotionally every single day. Roosevelt's story reminds us that discipline isn't about being naturally gifted, it's about choosing to show up, no matter what. Here's a challenge for you. Pick one small habit you want to build and commit to practicing it every day for the next 30 days. It could be something as simple as drinking more water, meditating for 5 minutes, or writing down one thing you're grateful for. The key is consistency. Every time you follow through, you're strengthening your discipline muscle. And over time, that muscle will grow stronger, making it easier to tackle bigger challenges. Let's shift our focus to values. Your values are the foundation of your life. They're what guide your decisions, shape your actions, and define who you are. When you're clear on your values, you become unshakable. You're no longer swayed by outside opinions or temporary emotions because you're grounded in something deeper. Take a moment to reflect on your own values. What matters most to you? Is it integrity, growth, connection, courage? Write down your top 3 values and ask yourself, how can I align my actions with these values today? When your actions are aligned with your values, you'll feel a sense of peace and purpose that no external circumstance can take away. Finally, let's talk about bold, unstoppable action. Anxiety often thrives in hesitation. The longer you wait to act, the louder the voice of doubt becomes. But when you take bold, decisive action, you silence that voice. You prove to yourself that you're capable, that you're in control, that you're stronger than your fears. Think of Julius Caesar crossing the Rubicon. That moment was bold. It was decisive. It was a point of no return. And while you don't need to lead an army or conquer a nation, you do need to take bold action in your own life. What's one bold step you can take today? Maybe it's starting that project you've been putting off. Maybe it's reaching out for help. Maybe it's saying no to something that's draining your energy. Whatever it is, take that step. As we close, let me remind you of this. You are not defined by your anxiety. You are not defined by your past. You are defined by the choices you make today. Every time you choose faith over fear, action over hesitation, and growth over comfort, you're rewriting your story. Thank you for being here, for choosing to invest in yourself, for taking the time to learn, reflect, and grow. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel and join this community of people who are committed to transformation. And remember, your best life is waiting for you not someday, but today. All it takes is one step. You've got this. Champions, your mind has been forged a little stronger today, but the real test isn't what you learned, it's what you do with it. Take action, dominate your day, and remember, we're not just building better thoughts, we're forging unstoppable lives. The forge doesn't stop, and neither do you. If this episode hit you where it counts, Subscribe to Mental Forge Academy and join the Brotherhood of Champions who refuse to settle for ordinary. Go transform, strike while the mind is hot.